Welcome back, guys, to the Andrew Delic podcast. So I want to start off with whatever you're doing in life, whatever you're chasing, whatever you're pursuing, whatever you want out of life, and whatever you wish to accomplish, and whatever your dreams are. Never, ever fucking give up. Never. And God will test you, God, the universe, whatever you believe in it, a higher power will test you through hardships. Whenever something hard happens, whenever something tough happens in your life, you just keep pushing. You force your way through. You don't give up. That's number one. It's easy to have this mentality when everything is going well in your life, right? Okay, so everything is going according to plan. You're making the money you want to make. You're acquiring all the goods you want to acquire. Everything is going according to plan. Then it's easy to have this mentality because, hey, fucking everything is going according to plan. It's all smooth sailing, right? Of course, then it's easy to have that mentality. But the real test, the way God really tests you, and this is the real test, is when everything goes to shit. When nothing works anymore, when, I don't know, you aren't making any money, business is going badly, people aren't reaching back to you, you have no networks, no one wants to talk to you business-wise, whatever, that is when God will test your mental strength and your ambition to acquire what you want to acquire. It takes a lot of fucking hardship, it takes a lot of hard work, it takes a lot of persistence and mental fortitude. Life is going to test you, God's going to test you, especially the bigger goals you have, the bigger ambitions you have, the more he's going to test you, because the more you have to be ready for those goals. And the only way that you can get readier and more prepared for those goals and for that dream is by getting more and more tested and facing harder challenges and facing harder fears than other people who have smaller ambitions, smaller dreams, smaller goals, and aren't aiming as high as someone who is aiming for the fucking moon, right? So that's why you never fucking give up. No matter what it is, no matter what is happening, if you have this goal, if you have this vision, if you have this end dream, this end goal of acquiring this position, acquiring this dream, acquiring this goal, reaching that goal, that is when you take life by the fucking balls. That is when it's time for you to say, you know what? I don't care what circumstances I am in currently. I know better days are coming, and I know that God has a lot in store for me. There's a reason why God put that dream inside of your brain, inside of your mind, inside of your thoughts. There's a reason why, because God, the universe, they want you to go in search of that dream, in search of that goal. They want you to face your fears, face all those hardships, surmount all those challenges that you have to surmount and prosper in order for you to prosper and then reach your goals. But like I said, whenever you face challenges, whenever everything has gone to shit, that is when the real test is in play. Even when everything is going according to plan and everything is smooth sailing, even then, like The Rock said multiple times, success is, to be successful, it is a rent that is due every single day. You have to pay the rent every single day, and the rent of success, you have to pay the dues every single day. You have to. So even when everything is smooth sailing, even when everything is going according to plan, even then you have to be still hyper ambitious, really hardworking, really persistent, and be really disciplined. Because if you acquire your dream, you acquire your goal, whatever, you reach your goals, if you don't stay disciplined, and if you don't maintain that same level of success, which, and by consequent, made you be capable of earning that dream and that goal, then you're just gonna, yes, you're gonna reach that goal, but you're slowly gonna go down, 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 and then you're gonna be not the same person, not have the same success that you maybe once had. So that's why reaching the goal is really fucking hard, but maintaining it is also a day in, day out job, and day in, day out thing that you have to do in order for you to, of course, acquire that goal, succeed, acquire that dream, and then you maintain it through discipline, hard work, perseverance, and just doing what needs to get done every single day, day in, day out, week after week, month after month, and even year after year. But the main point is when everything goes to plan, when it feels like your logical mind is telling you, and that every circumstance that is currently happening in your life and everything that is happening in your life, you have this feeling that life is telling you to stop pursuing your dream, and that life is telling you that it will never happen, and that you will never accomplish your dreams. Even then, you have to have this little inner voice, this little irrational inner voice, ambitious, that comes up and tells you, you know what? It's all going to work out. Just keep pushing. They all say the same thing. It's like, what's his name? The guy who, what's his name? I have his name on the top of my tongue, tip of my tongue. He's the guy, Hormozy, Alex Hormozy, right? Hyper successful. He owns a couple of gyms. He started off by selling like fitness programs, and then he opened a couple of gyms. And then now he's like a multimillionaire, and he also has a platform online where he speaks, where he motivates people. He has like not a podcast, he's more like a speaker, whatever. But I don't know, maybe he has guests on sometimes, I'm not sure. But Alex Hormozy, who is highly, highly successful, and actually one of the most successful individuals of all time. And he explains how it is to become successful. So in the beginning, when you start off something, you're all ambitious and you're all optimistic about it. And then the more you do it, the less optimistic you become, because the more you realize how much a lot of fucking work it takes and how fucking hard it is to accomplish. And then, but the only way that you can succeed is even when you are in that phase of, everything's going badly, it's so fucking hard, I'm pessimistic, I'm not as optimistic as I was in the beginning because I've been doing this for a couple of years and nothing's happening. I've seen no results. I keep putting in work and there's just no results. Just keep pushing. And then one day, what you have worked for 10 years, in 1 year, magic will happen and fucking the universe, God, will bless you and will give you results you couldn't even imagine or fathom that will ever happen in your life. That's how it works. But what happens normally what people do, from what I see from experience, from my personal experience with my friends, my colleagues, my family, relatives, and whatever, and also what I hear many times on social media, people who are successful saying that in their surroundings, they saw the same thing happen, is you start off, you're hyper positive, hyper optimistic, hyper ambitious in this goal that you have. Then you work on it. Slowly by working on it, you become more and more pessimistic, because you realize how hard it is and how much work it actually fucking takes to accomplish that big dream of yours. And like I said, the bigger your dream, the more work you have to put in and the harder it will be to accomplish. So then you become pessimistic. And then instead of pushing through and just staying fucking persistent and staying like a fucking, when a lion bites on his prey, nothing can take the lion out of his prey because he's fucking determined he's eating that prey. That's how fucking like persistent you have to be. Once you bite on something, you don't let go until you fucking get what you want to get. But people normally, which is normal human reaction, is your logical mind comes into play, right? You're like, okay, wait, I've been doing this for a couple of years. I've been doing this for many repetitions. I've been doing high volume, high everything, and nothing's happening. There's no results. Maybe it's not made for me. Maybe I'm not cut out for it. Maybe I should just stop and do something else. That's logical thinking. That's something that happens to every one of us. But when that thought comes to your mind, you have to know how to battle your thoughts, how to fight your thoughts, and how to put your thoughts into place. Because you are not your thoughts. You cannot control your thoughts. In a way, you cannot control what your brain will think, what your thoughts will be, but you can control which thoughts you will dwell on and which thoughts you will give power to. So whenever you get negative thoughts, you cannot control that. If they come, they come. But once they come, when those negative thoughts come, you have to be able to be powerful and to have the peace of mind and the wisdom to be able to realize that these negative thoughts aren't the truth. Don't listen to them. Learn how to tame them, control them, and put them to the side. And of course, ideally, erase them. And the best way you can erase negative thoughts is by replacing them with positive thoughts. So instead of saying, you know what, I've been doing this for couple of years, I have no results, the number of repetitions I did, the number of volume I put into work, it's crazy to see that there's no results. Instead of thinking that way, how you should actually think is, I've been doing this for a couple of years, I'm way better than I was in the beginning, so there is progress, and like it or not, if I keep going, I'm going to get better and better, and success will follow my competency. Money will flow towards my competency and towards my acquired skill set, which is normal, right? The better you are at something, the more value people will find in that thing that you are doing, that thing that you are pursuing, whichever business, whichever line of business you will pursue. That is something that you will become more competent. And then people, like it or not, they'll see value in you and in your work. And where people see value, where there is actual and real value, not fake value, but real, authentic value, and you're actually really fucking competent in that line of work or in that thing that you want to do, money will flow your way, Your dreams will get accomplished. Everything you're seeking is seeking you. So, but the most important is to keep doing, because the more repetitions you do, the better you will become at that certain domain or that certain field that you're in, right? Let's say me and my friends, like, I don't want to boast about I was this good soccer player. I never played professional, but let's say amongst me and my friends, if my friends are watching this, I'm going to be cocky, but I was the best. But the reason why I was the best, that's what I'm trying to say. I don't care if I was the best. That's not what's important. The reason why I was the best is because I just played way more than other people. I put in way more hours. When they went to house parties, I went to go play soccer at night at La Fonderie. It's somewhere here in Gatineau. When they stayed at home to play video games, I would juggle the ball downstairs in my living room or in my basement. The only reason why I was better than my friends, I'm not saying I never played professional, but amongst my friends who we were all amateurs, amongst them I was the best actually. And the only reason why is, of course, talent can play a part. I was also, to a certain degree, I was talented in that sport of soccer. But the number one reason why I was better than my friends who also played soccer and who also had ambitions of being professional soccer players like we all did when we were younger, the reason I was better than them is only because I put in more hours, I put in more work, and I did more repetition for that sport. That's the only reason why. I played more, I trained more, I focused more, and I wanted it more. End result, when we play soccer, I'm better than them. It's as simple as that. Even now, when we play soccer for fun every Saturday, now, of course, we're adults. No one practices soccer anymore. No one gives a fuck. We just play for fun. But even now, since I was always better than them, even now when we play, they see the level of difference. We all see it. Like I said, it's not a flex or anything. Let's say me or 2-3 other of my friends are also really good. Me and 2-3 were better than, let's say, the 20 others, just simply because we played more than those 20 others. It's as simple as that. Us four, we would play every single day after school. Even on the weekends, we wouldn't go out. We wouldn't go to house parties. We'll go and play soccer in our local fields, right? The other 20 players, they wouldn't do that. They will maybe play soccer 2-3 times a week and then not play the other days. Then what happens is, of course, throughout weeks, months, years, and just decades even of putting in way more repetition, way more hard work, of course, now leading up to when we're all 25 years old, of course, I put in more hours, he put in more hours, he put in more hours than the rest of the group. Of course, we're going to be better than them. It's as simple as that. And the only reason why we are better than them is because more repetition, more hard work, and we put in more hours. Maybe out of those 20 players, there's one who was 10 times more talented than, let's say, the four of us. Maybe. And I don't debate it, but maybe that's a fact. But he didn't play as much as we did. Because like the saying goes, and this is like a saying that's been going on for ever since humanity exists, is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't hard work. But hard work, yes, it beats talent when talent doesn't hard work. If that guy who was more talented than all four of us, if he would have put in the same hours as us and would have done the same repetitions and would have played as much and would have done as much volume as we did, he would have ended up being a better player than us. Why? Because he's more talented, and plus he put in the same work ethic as us and the same hours as us, if not even more. If he puts in even more, then he's going to be even more better than us. Like, not only slightly better, but even like enough better, astronomically better than us. But since he didn't put in a lot of effort, he didn't work as hard as we did, he didn't put in as much as volume or didn't do as many repetitions as we did, at the end of the day, the end result is when we all play together, when we play a soccer game, he's not the best, us four, we are the best. It's simple as that. At the end of the day, it's all about results. That's the thing that matters. Who cares who's more talented? Who cares what? Even at the end of the day, who cares who puts in more work? The most important, who's going to be the best. But in order to be the best, you have to put in the work. So that's why when I say who cares who put in the most work is, yeah, if you're capable of being the best player, even if you don't put in a lot of work or as much as work as someone else, hell, you're still the best player. It's as simple as that. Ronaldo worked way harder than, maybe not way harder. I feel like that's something that's people overrate. Maybe not overrate Ronaldo's work ethic, because his work ethic is fucking, it's not overrated. His work ethic was through the roof. It's one of the biggest and the best work ethics on planet Earth. But I feel like it's fairer to say that people underestimate and underrate Messi's work ethic. People act like Messi was born talented and that's it. Guys, Messi, since he was 5 years old, he only cared about soccer. He only played soccer, and every single day he would play for hours and hours and hours. Do you understand the level of hard work that is, the level of volume and the level of repetition he put in? Crazy numbers. And then when he came at the age of 15, 16, where he started being a professional soccer player, you never heard stories about Messi missing practice. You never heard stories about Messi missing practice because last night he was out in a nightclub having fun, drinking alcohol, partying with women or whatever, or with his friends. You never heard those stories because Messi, every single day, he would put in the work and he would attend all the necessary practices and trainings that he had to attend in order to be the player that he currently and that he was in the past. Of course, now, amongst those who work really hard, there's little levels of who works even harder than the other person. Messi and Ronaldo both worked really fucking hard. But Ronaldo worked even harder than Messi did. But then Messi also had way more talent than Ronaldo. So of course, like I said, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't hard work. But when talent also hard work, then it's a question of how much are you actually working harder than the guy who has more talent? And how much more talent does he have than the guy who is working harder than him, but who has less talent? Like they say, the devil is in the details. You have to be precise. You have to look at it case by case. Because in general, of course, hard work beats talent. But then when both hard work, it's a question of who works harder and who has more talent. Then you all put that together and then you go one against the other. And then you look at it case by case. Okay, who's better? That was the case for Messi and Ronaldo. And there's many other cases for, like, let's say Djokovic, Federer, and Nadal. Now, I don't know that much tennis. I don't know who was more talented, who put in more work. So I cannot speak for that. But for football, especially for Messi and Ronaldo, I know fucking everything that I have to know when it comes to football and Messi and Ronaldo. I know fucking everything there is to know. And I can say confidently and without any, like, hesitation that Ronaldo put in more work than Messi. Ronaldo would go the extra step. He would attend all practices, but when everyone goes home, all his teammates who are, parentheses, who are professional soccer players, so they also put in a lot of fucking work. They're professionals. Ronaldo would go the extra step, the extra mile on top of what his colleagues who are professionals, world-class professionals, so meaning that they also train really hard, but Ronaldo would go a mile further, a step further. Messi wouldn't take that mile further or that step further. But then Messi, of course, his talent is fucking God gifted. It's fucking God blessed him with a crazy talent. But also, like I said many times, Messi isn't the only player who was blessed with that talent. There's other players who was also blessed with the talent that Messi has, or maybe even more. Like I said, in my opinion, when it comes to pure talent, Ronaldinho had more talent than Messi. Before I have Messi dick riders, hold up, guys. I'm a Messi dick rider, but let's say it how it is. Ronaldinho, like I said many times, was perfect. I mean, Messi wasn't perfect. Why? He's short. Of course, in football, it's better to be short than to be too tall. But still, if he was a bit taller, it would have been better. He's a bit too short. His right foot, his weak foot isn't that good. I mean, it's good. He can blast the ball with his right foot, but it's not that good. He's fast, but he's not as fast as, let's say, Ronaldo or Ronaldinho. He has good strength, not as strong as Ronaldinho was. He could shoot the ball really, really strong, not as strong as Ronaldinho could. And then, of course, Ronaldinho was better headers. He was taller. And, of course, if I might add, like I said so many times, when it comes to football, Ronaldinho was perfect, meaning that he had the perfect height, perfect skills, perfect everything. You cannot be more perfect than Ronaldinho as a football player. But Ronaldinho, what he didn't have and what he really fucking lacked was discipline, work ethic, and just like ambition, I guess we can say. Because, Brazilians aren't really ambitious when I think about it right now. Like, they have a lot of fucking talent. And like it or not, when you have a country of almost 200 million citizens and they're all constantly playing football on the streets, fucking 12 hours a day, well, then of course they're going to have crazy talent, which is what Brazil have. But once they become famous, once they have money, once they have status, and once they acquire all this material goods, it's like their ambition goes down the drain. They don't give a fuck anymore. They just want to party. And I'm speaking by experience, right? Ronaldo, phenomenal, fucking crazy talent, right? He could have won 6 Ballon d'Ors easily. he didn't accomplish what he could have accomplished. Of course, injuries, but also he wasn't as ambitious as Cristiano Ronaldo was. Same goes for Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho, like I said, when it came to the footballing gods gifting him with talent when it comes to football, I mean, Jesus Christ, what more could have the footballing gods given to Ronaldinho? Nothing more. They already gave him the most that they can. But the one thing that he didn't give him was work ethic. I mean, it's not, we don't blame the gods for the footballing gods for that. It's mostly who you are as a person. Ronaldinho didn't have work ethic. You heard many stories of Ronaldinho going out and partying until 6 a.m. and then not going to training because he was up all night drinking, partying with women, maybe even doing fucking drugs, who fucking knows. But one thing's for sure is his work ethic wasn't as good as Cristiano Ronaldo or any other player who accomplished more than Ronaldinho and all these other Brazilian players. But like it or not, Ronaldinho remains one of the greatest players of all time. It's just what could have been is crazy when you think about it. He could have won 15 Ballon d'Ors. He could have, since 2004 to 2014, he could have won every single Ballon d'Or easily and like by far dominate every single year. So he could have had 10 Ballon d'Ors right now. Ronaldinho, he only has one. He has two technically because at that time, the Ballon d'Or, it was the Ballon d'Or and the FIFA Best Player, and Ronaldinho technically won 2 FIFA Best Players, which is, in my opinion, more important than the Ballon d'Or. So technically, he was the best in 2004, 2005. I mean, those 2 years, he was phenomenal. Like, it was fucking crazy. But it was only 2 years. Like, yes, before that, he was also still really good. Not the best. And after that, he was also still really fucking good. But, again, not the best. He could have been the best for 10 to 12 years. He would have won the World Cup with Brazil in 2010, 2014, and even 2018. Maybe not 2018. Maybe that's pushing it a little bit. But he would have won 2 more World Cups. He already won one in 2002. I don't know how they didn't win the 2006 World Cup. That's still mind-blowing to me how they lost to France. Mind-blowing, but hey, the World Cup, everything can happen. It's only one game. They lost in the semifinals. But still, Brazil 2006 was fucking dangerous. If they were more serious and if they played more practical football, this is what I mean is their level of football, Brazil in 2006 was through the roof. It was prime football, right? But it wasn't the most practical football, right? Because what they were able to do with 20 touches, the Brazilian players, they could technically you can do it in 10 touches, which makes the game go by faster, which makes the play be faster, and which then just helps the play and helps you score even more goals and then be even more dominant on the pitch. But Brazilians with Joga Bonito, they fucking love playing with the ball. So of course, what they can accomplish with 1 or 2 touches, they're gonna do it with 5 or 6 touches of the ball because they love to touch the ball. And this just doesn't go for their wingers. It doesn't just go for their attacking midfielders. It goes for every single fucking position. They love to touch the ball. The center backs love to touch the ball. The wing backs, the full backs love to touch the ball. Every position in the midfield, they fucking love to touch the ball. Every position in offense loves to touch the ball. Even the fucking goalkeeper loves to touch the ball. Even the coach, he's like, damn, I would like for them to pass me the ball right now so I can touch it a couple of times. Brazilians love raping the ball, and they rape it way too much. Technically, Brazil, if they were more ambitious and had a better work ethic, and they played more practical football, instead of having 5 World Cups, which is still phenomenal, which is still like the most World Cups any national team has, right now they would have 12 World Cups, man. Easily, bro. Every single World Cup, Brazil are favorites. Like every single World Cup. It's fucked up to say, but it's true. Number of players and the talent that comes out of Brazil is just fucking phenomenal, and it's crazy. Crazy if I might add. It's fucking crazy. Like, think about it. For all my football fans, think about it. The last time Brazil won a World Cup was in 2002. 24 years ago. 24 fucking years ago is the last time Brazil won a World Cup. That's fucking crazy considering that it's Brazil. Considering that every single World Cup, they're the favorites. But their style of play isn't the best. Every player wants to rape the ball, wants to touch the ball 50 times. and they're lazy. They're not ambitious. They don't work hard. They don't run as much as, let's say, the Germans or the Italians. And that's why they don't win the fucking World Cup. But if they were to just, instead of every single player touching the ball 6 times, I'm not saying touch it once or twice, which is what every fucking team does, is they touch the ball once or twice by every single time they have the ball. Touch it 3 or 4 times instead of 6 times. Just turn it down a notch a little bit. And you guys will be dominant as fuck and you'll win every single World Cup. But no, you guys have to touch the ball. And even if I might add, not every single player in Brazil should have the right to touch the ball 6 times. I said it. Why? Because it's a fucking fact. Neymar is allowed to touch the ball 6 times. Why? Because he's the best fucking player in Brazil. He's fucking their king, right? He's their king. Neymar is allowed to touch the ball 6 times. Fucking Estevão Willian, who's fucking 18 years old, he touched the ball. He needs to touch the ball once or twice and then shut the fuck up. That's how it should be. But he also wants to touch the ball 6 times. Rafinha wants to touch the ball 6 times. Fucking Vini wants to touch it 18 times because in Vini's mind, he's the best player. So, of course, also ego plays a big part in the Brazil squad. Like I said, the only way they can win the 2026 World Cup, and this is literally the only way, is if they realize that Neymar is their main guy. They pass the ball to Neymar. They all run and defend and play for Neymar, just like Argentina did with Messi in 2022. And Neymar is their main guy, is their main leader. Then, of course, they will dominate the World Cup. But that's not going to happen. Neymar is probably going to be injured or some shit like that. And Brazil, all the other players, in Vini's mind, there's no way Vini's going to bow down to Neymar, right? In Vini's mind, he's fucking Maradona mixed with Messi, mixed with Ronaldinho times 4. That's the level of cockiness and that's the level of ego that Vini has. Good for him. Good for him for having that level of confidence. But his level of confidence isn't equal to his level of competency. It's 2 different things. He's an amazing player, one of the best players on planet Earth, like it or not, Vini. But is he as good as he thinks he is? Nah. Because in Vini's mind, he's fucking Messi. And he's far from being Messi. But, like I said, kudos to him for having that mentality and that fucking ambition and that willpower. But his level of confidence doesn't match his competence. And of course, having confidence is good, but it has to match your level of competency, right? Because if you're confident and you're way more confident than what you are competent, you will not see where you can improve and you will not know your position in a team or even just in society in general. And then if you're too confident about things that you should actually not be as confident, because you should actually be able to realize and be able to have a critical mindset to understand and to tell yourself the truth and to be able to see the truth about yourself and to tell yourself the truth about where you can and where you should improve, then at the end of the day, you're going to become way more competent, because the point of life is to be as competent as you can in the certain field that you are passionate about. But in order for you to become more competent in something that you are passionate about, is to have a critical eye and to be, as much as you can, unbiased towards yourself and towards your competency in that domain or that field that you are pursuing. Of course, like it or not, we don't like telling ourselves the truth. We love, especially when the truth is negative, when it's not something that we like to hear, then of course we like to have wishful thinking and in a way to lie to ourselves, which is normal. Every single human being does it. But in order to be able to grow and to know where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are, it takes a level of humbleness and it takes a level of being unbiased towards yourself, having a critical eye. So you understand, like, okay, my strengths in this particular domain that I'm pursuing are this, and that. And my weaknesses are this, and that. In order for me to become better, how can I improve my weaknesses so that my weaknesses become strengths? And of course, make sure that my strengths don't become weaknesses. So you have to be able to be unbiased. And this just doesn't go for football. It goes for anything you want to do in life. Like, let's say Ronaldo, right? Ronaldo, one thing that he does really well is he understands his position on the pitch. He understands where he situates himself on the pitch. Never did you see Ronaldo drop as an attacking midfielder and try to create plays and be the main playmaker. Why? It's because deep down he understands and he knows that He's not as good as a playmaker as Luka Modric, Toni Kroos, or any other player that he had as a playmaker at Real Madrid. He understands that. But then he understands, okay, my weakness, those aren't necessarily my strengths. Creating plays, passes, vision, dribbling. But then he understands what his strengths are. Scoring fucking goals, running up and down, being fast, being very physical and athletic, and having an amazing nose for goal. He understands that that's his strength. So that's what he focuses on, because he knows that it's a team sport. Every single player brings his strengths and his weaknesses to the table. But the main goal is to understand where everyone is best situated in. And then you use Ronaldo to score goals, so you put him up front because his strength is to score goals. Modric is to create plays. Kroos is for passing and also creating plays. So that's how it is. But same goes for life, right? Let's say whatever you pursue a business. Like let's say the owners where I work selling cars, right? They have 3 dealerships and it's 3 owners, it's 3 brothers. How can I say this politely? Those 3 brothers are really smart and they're really amazing people, but they're not the best when it comes to maybe negotiating, or maybe when it comes to negotiating with clients, I would say. So what they did, it was they hired people who are really good with talking to clients and negotiating with clients, because they understand that, okay, we have strengths, we have weaknesses. Our strength isn't when it comes to negotiating with clients, isn't when it comes to socializing with clients and talking with clients. Our strengths lie in different fields, which is really important also for the business. So where I have weaknesses, either I'll improve, and if it's something that I can improve, if it's something that I can change, then what I'll do is I'll hire people to work for me who are good in things that I'm bad at. So that when you look at the dealership, when you look at their business model and their business team, they're well-rounded, right? The team is good at everything, but not everyone is good at everything. But since everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, when they combine all of their strengths together and all of their weaknesses together, they, in a way, quote unquote, become a perfect team, a perfect unit for the main goal of selling as many cars as they fucking can, right? That's the goal of the business, is sell as many cars as we can. So that's what also about life is, gotta be able, be humble, and be unbiased, understand where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are, especially when you have a business, and then be able to know who you have to hire, because they have certain strengths that you don't. But when you put yourselves, both of you guys together, it's a really powerful team. And then at the end of the day, you bring really good value and you make a lot of money if it's a business, or you bring a really good content if it's a podcast maybe, or really good content if it's a vlog or whatever. But like they say, if you go alone, you'll go farther, and not farther, but you'll go quicker. But if you go as a team, you'll go further. That's a fact. That's why it's important to know what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, especially in the business where there is multiple people who work under you or for you or with you, of course, many partners, whatever, is they all have their different strengths and weaknesses, but together you guys are a strong unit. And this goes for everything in life. So I know how I start talking about everything. I mean, I have these fucking topics that I have to address. Yes, okay, and this is something, okay, so talking about failure like I did in the beginning, one thing that I push myself to do the most is to fail as fast and as much as I can. Because the quicker and harder you fail, the quicker and harder you'll succeed. The more you fail and the quicker you fail, the faster and the more you'll learn, and the faster and the more you'll grow and become more competent. And that is where you earn. Once you become more competent and better at a certain domain, then of course you just earn and you gain and you get closer to your dream and to your goal. So the quicker and the faster you fail, the quicker and the faster and the more you will grow and the more you will win. That's how I say it. That's why dwelling on losses, that's why dwelling on failure, that's one of the reasons why it's not good. It's not only because it's not good for your mental health and for your mental peace of mind, and it takes away your strength to continue doing what you have to do. But if you keep dwelling on your past failures and on your losses, and that dwellness ensures that it puts a stop to you and your art, then your process and your journey to getting to your end goal and to your end dream will just be longer and longer, because in those certain short periods of time, you have many periods where you stop because you keep dwelling and you keep having regret on the losses you faced and the failures you faced. But if you're capable of, whenever you face failure or whenever you do something like, fuck, I failed, or I faced rejection, or I took an L, if you're capable of just brushing it off, and as quickly as possible, the quicker you can brush it off, the better it is, if I'm being honest. The quicker you can brush it off and the faster you can brush it off, the faster you'll get to your end goal and to your end dream. It's a fact. That's why Elon Musk said, take your 10-year plan to accomplish a dream or to reach a goal. Take your 10-year plan and try to accomplish it in 6 months. And he said, you'll probably fail, but you'll be way closer to your dream if you wouldn't have adopted that mentality of, okay, this is my 10-year plan, my 10-year dream. Let me try and accomplish it in 6 months. Use that mentality, you're going to be way farther, way closer to your dreams than if you use a mentality of, okay, this is my 10-year goal, so I have 10 years, so let me take certain short periods of time where I dwell on my losses, on my failure, and that just extends everything and just slows up the process. The best way to speed up your results process and your success process is by failing as quick as possible, failing as much as you can, because the more you fail, the more you learn, the more competent you are. So it's failing as much as possible, as quickly as possible, and the most that you can without having any shame. I mean, you shouldn't have shame when you fail in something, when you face a loss. It's normal. We all do. But when you're capable of keep going when life puts you down, when life kicks you down, when life knocks you down, that is when you become better and better. Because if life knocks you down and you stay down, well, not only did you not succeed, but you're always going to be a loser because you're never going to get up. So yes, you lost once, but you're never going to win because when you lost once, you gave up immediately. The only way to succeed after losing multiple times is not by giving up. If you lose multiple times, if you fail multiple times and then you give up, well, then you only failed, right? Because you fail. Okay, I keep going. I fail. Okay, I'll keep going. I still have motivation. I fail. Okay, fuck. Okay, it's hard, but okay, I'll keep going. I fail. Okay, fuck it, I give up. So your entire time you just failed and then you gave up. At least, I mean, if you're going to fail as much as that, at least go the fucking distance so that, okay, fail. Oh, I win now. At least then you won and then you got what you wanted. And then everything you failed, everything you sacrificed for wouldn't have been for nothing. There's a purpose for it and you have the results now to prove it. Who knows when it's going to happen? Who knows if it's ever going to happen? But one thing that I know for sure is I only have one life. You only have one life from what we know, of course. You only have one life and life goes by really fucking quickly. The older people I know, the older the people are, the more they tell that and the more they are enthusiastic and the more they are, how can I say this? Ambitious about the way they say it, that life goes by really quickly. I just know when I was 10 years old, from 10 years old to 15 years old, it felt like eternity. But from 15 to 25, it went by so fucking quickly. So I can only imagine what 25 to 40 looks like. 15 years, it has to be really fucking quick. So don't waste time. Fail as much as you can. And of course, we see it as failure, but it's not failure. It's a learning curve. That is where you learn. How can you learn if you only win, right? How can you learn? Let's say I play a game of chess against my friend and I win. I'm just going to take that win. I'm not going to think about what I did. Maybe I am going to reflect on, because I want to get better. Okay, maybe I should have done this, or that. But you're not going to learn as much and you're not going to reflect as much as if you lose. If you lose, you're going to be thinking about it, especially if you're really ambitious and you have really high dreams and high ambitions in, let's say, the field of chess. So then you're going to think about it. You're going to dwell on it. You're going to study it. You're going to look in which places you made certain wrong moves and whatever. And then you'll get better and more competent. And then, of course, with repetition, hard work, just keep going and going. You will become better and better, and then you will accomplish more and more, and then you'll just get closer and closer to your dreams. Okay, this quote from Socrates is one of the best quotes and one of the really most important quotes. And of course, the one thing that I really love about this quote is that this quote by Socrates was said like 3,000 years ago, but it's still true to this day. No man has the right to be an amateur in the matter of physical training. It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and strength of which his body is capable. That's true. Speaking from experience, personal question to everyone, how can you live your entire life without ever seeing and without ever accomplishing the pinnacle and the full potential of being in the best physical shape of your life? Like, you're going to live your entire life without ever once experiencing what it's like to be in the shape of your life. I mean, I'm not saying that's the only thing that matters in life. Of course, there's many other things, but health is a big thing. And being in physical shape, it's really fucking cool and it's nice and you feel good, you feel confident, you feel better, you have more energy. It's just something that's nice. So imagine, I cannot imagine going your entire life without ever experiencing the beauty and the strength of which your body is capable. Before, when I didn't work out, like when I was, let's say, 15 years old, I would do like 1 or 2 pull-ups. But now that I can do like, let's say, 18 in a row, that's really fucking awesome. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I grab the bar, I feel like a monkey, how like easily I can pull myself up. Like, it's nice, especially amongst men. It's cool. It's like a nice feeling. It's like a phenomenal feeling. It's nice. Or just being able to know that you're capable of running 5 miles without getting like tired or without ever being capable of continuing or whatever. So it's just something that I feel like I agree 100% with Socrates, that I cannot understand how some men can go their entire life without ever witnessing or experiencing or seeing the beauty and the strength of which his body is capable. And on top of that, if you think about all the pros and all the cons, I mean, what are the cons to working out? There's literally zero cons to working out, being healthy, staying in shape, and eating healthy. Literally, I'm not saying this as hyperbole. I'm saying that this as literally zero cons to working out and being the best shape of your life. It's all pros. It's all fucking pros. You look better, you feel better, your sex is better, your sex drive is better, you have more energy, you have more confidence, you feel better, fucking your testosterone is through the roof, your dopamine levels are better, life is clearer, your mind is clearer, your mind is sharper, you have more energy, you have more ambition, you're more determined. It builds a lot of discipline. It's only pros when it comes to working out, being in shape, and being in the shape of your life, and eating well, eating healthy, and being healthy. It's all pros and literally zero cons. Next topic. Someone said, people who grew up playing sports are way more prepared for life than those who didn't. I agree. There's nothing better for your kids, no better lesson, no better school for your kids than to play a sport, because they're going to learn all the following. Sports teach you discipline, leadership, how to deal with adversity, that life isn't fair, preparation, accountability, hard work, and mental toughness. Great athletes become successful business people. I agree, because everything that sports teach you, discipline equals freedom. Discipline is the hardest thing to master, but it's also the most, once you master it, it's also the most beautiful thing you can master is discipline. And then you have leadership. If you have high ambition, if you have ambitions of being an entrepreneur, if you have ambitions of starting your own business or in politics or whatever, leadership is a really, really beautiful quality to have, and a really, really good and prosperous quality to have. How to deal with adversity. Phenomenal. No matter who you are, no matter what you're doing, no matter where you're situated in life, no matter what your social economic status is, you're always going to come face to face with adversity. Always, always, always. From the day you're born till the day you'll die, you'll always face adversity. Realizing that life isn't fair, because life is not fucking fair. But like I always said, life isn't fair for everyone, which makes life fair. Because like it or not, for someone, it may seem that for someone else, life is fair. But there's other things that you don't know about his life, which he knows. And then he says to himself, well, my life isn't as beautiful as other people think, because they don't know that I have this, and that, which makes my life not as perfect or not as fair as other people might portray it to be. Preparation, understanding that whenever you have something big to do, something important, preparation, hard work, and discipline is really, really fucking important. Accountability. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes. Actually, it's really good. And it's something that's really needed in order for you to grow and get closer to your dreams. But whenever you make mistakes and you're not capable of being accountable, that's a weak mindset and that's a weak personality. Whenever you make a mistake, man up and say, you know what? I tried my best. I thought with my knowledge at the time that that was the right move. I realized with experience that it wasn't the right move. Hell, I'm a human being. I'm not perfect. No human being is. I made a mistake. I failed. I'm accountable. I'm holding myself accountable for what I did. It's okay. I learned from it. On to the next. Life goes on. Let's not dwell about the past. It's in the past. Forget about it. Keep a short-term memory. Keep moving forward. And just make sure you learn something from it. And then try again. Accountability. Hard work. Hard work, baby. I mean, do I have to say anything about it? Do I have to express myself why hard work is important? I don't really have to. And mental toughness. Like Huberman explained many times, the part of your brain which grows whenever you do something that you don't want to do, he said that when it comes to, in athletes, it's really big because athletes, they do many things that they don't want to do. Like they run up and down the hill. There's many times, and this is day in, day out, not once a week, once a month. Day in, day out, especially for professional athletes, they do things, physical things that they don't feel like doing. But they do it because it's important and because it will shape your mentality. It will make you mentally tougher, and it will grow that part of your brain, that region of your brain, which I forgot the name, but Andrew Huberman talked about it a lot, which can only grow when you push yourself to do something that you don't like to do or that you don't feel like doing. But when you push yourself to do it, that part of your brain grows. That is also the part of the brain which is associated with survival, the will to live. That part of the brain is also associated with survival and the will to live, the willpower to live, which makes a lot of fucking sense. Think about it. When 100,000 years ago, the more willpower someone had to live and the more will someone had to live is because he did more things which he didn't want to do, but he knew that he had to do them in order to survive. So of course those two go together. Like it or not, nowadays, of course, we don't survive in the wilderness or whatever, but we remain human beings, and that our brain is still wired the same as it was 100,000 years ago, and we still have the same genetics, of course, changed a little bit, but it remains the same. We remain the same humans as we were 100,000 years ago. It's all about genetics. That's why I say that part of the brain, when you do something that you don't feel like doing or that you don't want to do, well, the part of your brain which is about survival and the will to live, it grows, becomes greater and stronger, and then you have more mental toughness and you're mentally stronger. Okay, so recently, guys, Idaho just became the first state in the nation to make execution by firing squad its primary method of carrying out the death penalty. That's crazy. Like, of course, you're going to see what I'm going to be saying is going to make sense, and I'm all for it. But firing squad is kind of crazy. Like, what happened to, like, normally they put, like, something in his veins, which makes him sleep, and then he's dead. He dies in his sleep. But hey, I guess firing squad, maybe it's to send a bigger message so that people understand, like, yo, this is really, like, let's not do this certain crime which will give you the death penalty. Drink some water, man. Goddamn. Governor Brad Little signed House Bill 380 into law in March 2025, so 1 year ago, expanding Idaho's death penalty to include adults convicted of aggravated lewd conduct with children aged 12 and younger. They deserve the death penalty. All pedophiles who touch kids and whatever pedophiles do with kids, they deserve the death penalty. Now, is firing squad the right way? Is it the most convenient way? I don't know. But one thing I know for sure is that those pedophiles, man, I mean, if there's one group of people that I feel like everyone agrees that deserves the death penalty, it's always the pedophiles. And I understand why, man, that's the case. Those found guilty with 2 or more aggravating factors face either a 30-year mandatory minimum sentence or the death penalty. Real shit, man. 30 years, man, that's fucking crazy. Or the death penalty. I guess like 30 years is still better, but hey. But like I said, these guys, these pedophiles, they deserve it. I mean, they deserve it, and I feel like everyone agrees to a certain degree. The death penalty carried out by a firing squad. Mandatory minimum of 25 years also apply for offenses involving minors ages 13 to 16. Idaho's move comes as several other states are weighing similar legislation, reflecting a national conversation about how the justice system handles crime against children. Like I said, when it comes to pedophiles, man, they do the worst act possible towards little kids who have no power and who are powerless. So in my opinion, those pedophiles deserve the death penalty. Now it's a question of what is the right method to enforce that law of death penalty, that consequence of death penalty. Is it a firing squad? Is it the electrical chair? Is it the venom in your veins? I don't know. But one thing that I know for sure, and one thing that I agree with, is that they deserve the death penalty. Idaho's move comes as several other states are weighing similar legislation, reflecting a national conversation about how the justice system handles crime against children. Critics have raised constitutional concerns, pointing to a 2008 Supreme Court ruling that restricted the death penalty for child rape. Though supporters believe today's court would rule differently, Proverbs 31:8-9. Like I said, this guy brought it into. I don't like to mix religion with politics. For me, like I said many times, religion is personal and it should never have anything to do with politics. Politics and religion should always be two separate things. And I'm not only saying this for the Islamic religion, I'm also saying this for Christianity, which I'm a big Christian, but still, Christianity should have nothing to do with politics. Neither should Islam, neither should Judaism, neither should Hinduism, neither should Buddhism. No religion should have any say or role when it comes to politics. I've always said this. But there is this one verse from the Bible, which is really beautiful and which, in a way, concludes everything that was said before. Proverbs 31:8-9. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. For the rights of all who are destitute, speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and the needy. There is something in the human heart that demands accountability when the most vulnerable among us are harmed. And we all know that the most vulnerable people on planet Earth are little kids below the age of 12. Man, there's nothing they can do. Their brain isn't fully functioned and they're completely vulnerable. So of course we have to put extra care and make sure that they're extra safe because they are the most vulnerable. Whether you agree with the method or not, the question of how a society protects its children is one no believer can ignore. What do you think? So of course, in my opinion, pedophiles should get the death penalty. That's my opinion. Now, of course, some people can argue that an eye for an eye would leave the world blind. I understand that logic, that an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth maybe isn't the best concept of justice. But when it comes to pedophiles, man, fuck it, man. An eye for an eye, man, I don't give a fuck. And even worse, like castrate him, kill him, whatever. I don't care. For that, that's different. But if someone tells me, you know what, there's a gang member who killed another gang member, does he deserve a death penalty? I mean, then it's up for debate because, you know, it was one grown-ass adult killing another grown-ass adult who probably tried to kill him. So, like, that's a bit different. But when it comes to fucking pedophiles touching little kids below the age of, like, 16, and even just perverts and pedophiles in general, even if it's a guy who rapes an older woman, it's still rape and it's still the worst fucking piece of human trash that exists. But it's even worse and it's even fucking more, like, disgusting when it's a fucking child below the age of fucking 18, man. Like, what the actual fuck, man? So for them, I congratulate Idaho. I hope that all the other states in America follow their example. And I even wish that Canada would follow the same example. Because let me ask you this question. Imagine your child, who is 10 years old, gets sexually assaulted by a fucking guy, by an old guy who's fucking 55 years old. I personally would want to kill him. I ain't gonna lie, man. I personally would want to fucking kill him. Now, I'm just saying it like that. Each to his own. Well, like I said, I understand people who say that an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, like an eye for an eye would leave the whole world blind. I understand, but like I said, specifically for these pedophiles, man, fuck it, man. May the world go blind, man. Fucking kill them, man. I don't give a fuck, man. Okay, guys, so recently, I was talking with my friends yesterday. Yo, Matt, c'est là? Fait combien de temps que je roule? Perfect. Okay, so guys, yesterday I was with my friends. We were in a restaurant and we were talking about Bill C9, which for my Canadians, if you don't know about it, I'm going to explain to you what it is, word for word, and then I'll talk about it and express my thoughts and my feelings regarding it. So Bill C9, the Combating Hate Act, is a 2025 Canadian federal bill amending the criminal code to strengthen penalties against hate-motivated crimes, protect access to religious/cultural institutions, and ban the public display of hate symbols. It aims to address rising hate crimes like anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, but faces criticism regarding potential risks to free speech and religious expression. Key aspects of Bill C9 include new criminal offenses, creates laws against intimidating or obstructing access to places of worship, schools, and community centers, alongside creating a dedicated hate crime offense. Hate symbol ban prohibits the public display of hate or terrorist symbols to promote hatred. Redefining hatred adds a definition of hatred to the criminal code and removes the requirement for Attorney General consent to prosecute hate propaganda, speeding up prosecutions. Controversy. Critics, including some opposition members, raise concerns that the bill's language is broad, potentially allowing for the overzealous prosecution of speech, including religious, biblical, or political expressions. The bill is currently part of the legislative process in the 45th Parliament. This is how I see it when it comes to hate speech. This is how I see it. Expressing your opinion verbally, expressing your thought process when it comes to politics and religion, as long as you're not, how can I say this? As long as you're not saying that you're going to exterminate a certain group of people, as long as you're not saying that you're going to fucking like kill a certain group of people, that you're going to genocide a certain group of people, as long as you don't dehumanize a certain group of people, then there's nothing wrong. Let's say saying that immigrants should assimilate, that for me, that's not hate speech. That's not hate speech. That's a political way of thinking. That's a political mindset to have. Some people feel like maybe we can live in multiculturalism and everyone just fucking doesn't need to assimilate and they all bring their culture, whatever. Some people have the mentality of if you come here as an immigrant, you need to assimilate or it's an invasion. For me, that's not hate speech. Now, banning symbols of hate, which I suppose is the swastika is a symbol of hate. I mean, how I see it is, yes, the swastika is a symbol of hate. It is a symbol of fucking hate. And the swastika in a way does represent the genocide of Jews, because that is what the Nazis were doing. They had a main goal, and they said it word for word, and they wrote it on paper that they had the goal to exterminate all the Jews. So of course, the Nazi political party and the Nazi ideology is hatred. When you want to exterminate and genocide a certain group of people just for being part of a religious affiliation, that is hatred. I agree. But now, if a guy wants to wear a fucking swastika shirt, like, I don't agree with him, but I wouldn't really care that much. Like, okay, bro, wear the shirt. Who gives a fuck? I understand that he can like portray this bad image and it's just like uncomfortable for everyone. I understand that. But then there's a question of like, does he have the right to express himself? Even if everyone disagrees with him, even only a small minority agrees with him, I mean, does he still have the right to express himself? Yes, but to what degree? Saying that you're going to kill all Jews, that's not expressing yourself. That's just fucking spewing out hatred. That's not you expressing yourself. That's just you fucking committing crime verbally. That is a crime. Saying that you're going to kill someone is a crime. You're not allowed to do that. That's illegal. And especially saying that you're going to kill a group of people is even more of a fucking crime. That's hate speech. That is hate speech. But saying that, let's say, oh, I don't want Canada to turn into an Islamic state, or to adopt Sharia law, that's not hate speech for me. That's just fucking saying that I don't agree with the Sharia law's principles, with their way of life, so I don't want it in my country. That's different. There's a huge difference between saying I don't want Sharia law in my country and saying all Muslims should get killed. There's a huge fucking difference between those two, like a huge fucking difference. One is hate speech, saying that all Muslims should die, whatever, and that they don't deserve to live in Canada and that they should all get deported. That is hate speech, and I'm all against it. But saying that you don't want your country to adopt Sharia law because, let's be honest, it's misogynistic. It takes away human liberty, human freedom, and democracy. Saying that you don't want your country to adopt the Sharia law, that's not hate speech. How the fuck is that hate speech? That's not hate speech. So there's a difference. It's not all black or white. It's layers and shades of gray. That's how I see it. So of course, Bill C9, if it's against like people being able to say, oh, I'm going to fucking genocide a certain group of people, and the LGBTQ community, they don't deserve to live. They don't deserve to have rights. Women don't deserve to have rights. That is hate speech, because now we know in 2026, men and women, we have the same rights because we're equal. So do gay people. I mean, yes, they're homosexual, but they're still as equal as we are. They deserve the same rights. So do Muslims, so do Jews, so do Christians, so do black people, so do Arabs, so do Indians, so do Chinese. We're all human beings and we're all equal. I agree, and that is a fact. When you don't go against that fact, then it's not hate speech, in my opinion. Of course, people who say that gay people should get hanged from trees, that's fucking hate speech. Like, I hate fucking saying it. This coming from a guy who's all for liberty of expression and freedom of speech, but also that's not freedom of speech anymore. That is just hate speech. That is literally just hate speech. And that's different. So that's why, in my opinion, like, I just read about it, like, facely. You know, I just read about the face about the Bill C9. But like I said, if it's combating hate speech, like I just explained what I consider to be hate speech, then I'm all for it. Like, of course, I don't want to fucking see people saying like I wouldn't care. Like, even if I saw someone say Serbian Canadians should be slaves, like I would just laugh and be like, yo, what the fuck is this guy saying? Even though I'm a Serbian Canadian, I just, like, personally, it wouldn't affect me because I wouldn't let it affect me. Like, I'm not that weak mentally. But of course, I understand how it could affect some Serbian Canadians, and I understand and I realize how, at the end of the day, it's better if we live in a society where there's no that type of hate speech. It is better because that's not even logical thinking. That's not even a political mindset, like a political view. It's just purely hate speech coming from pure hate. That's different. So like I said, but if it does infringe on things that I don't consider to be hate speech, like saying, you know what, I don't want religion to mix with politics. And then maybe some religious, like I'm religious, right? I'm Christian. But whenever I see someone who's an atheist or who isn't religious say that I don't want religion to be mixed with politics, I agree with him. Even if he says, I don't want Christians to mix their theology with my politics, I'm going to be like, yeah, I fucking agree. I'm a Christian, but I still agree because I understand, yes, there is religion. And yes, I'm really religious and I respect law. Not law, but yes, the law. But I respect my religious origins of being Christian, and it helped me a lot throughout life, and especially throughout my personal life, helped me a lot. But I understand how religion and politics should never mix together. It used to mix before together, and it was a shit show. And that's why all the most developed countries and all the countries who are performing the best and doing the best, none of those countries have those two mixed together. They're all secular countries, which is, we know now by default and by results that is the best way to go on with life and with a society. So of course I agree with it. Even if I saw someone, now maybe what I wouldn't agree with is if someone starts insulting the Christian religion, maybe then like I still wouldn't care because I'd be like, yo, I don't give a fuck. Like, he can say whatever he wants. But then I'd be like, yo, you are kind of insulting people's faith. A lot of people have huge faith in the Christian faith, and this goes also for the Muslim faith, for the Jewish faith. That's why I don't like seeing people bash purely with hatred the Islamic faith or the Jewish faith or the Hindu faith or the Buddhist faith. I don't like it because, like it or not, yes, like I say, it's personal, but it's still something that exists for like 3,000 years, 2,000 years. It's still something that it helps people a lot through everyday life. And for many cases and for many people, religion saved their life. Like they were ready to kill themselves. And then by finding God through Christianity, through Islam, Judaism, whatever, it helped them become a better person. And it helped them have a more positive mindset and a more positive view of life and of their own personal life. So I don't also agree with people who like do hate speech towards religious groups. I'm also against that. Like I said, there's a big difference between hate speech and freedom of speech. The only question is, how do we determine what is hate speech and what is freedom of speech? What is free speech? That is the only question in this bill. Because yes, the not being allowed to say hate speech, I'm all for it. But it's only a question of, I just want to make sure that the line, it's a really fine line. Of course, it's not black or white. It's layers of gray. So it's a question of getting perfectly in the layer of gray, which of course is perfect. Now, of course, we all have different definitions and topics of what is considered hate speech and what is considered free speech. We all have different views because it's not like mathematics. It's not like 2 + 2 = 4. We all have different opinions on it. Although I do feel like 95% of human beings have the same opinion in general when it comes to what is hate speech and what is free speech. Maybe there is a 5% who are extremes on both sides, on the left side and on the right side, who would consider the line to be more finer on a certain other scale or on the other scale. But I feel like in general, for all human beings, we all in general think the same. We're all in general the same. And we all in general have the same opinion of where the line should be drawn when it comes to free speech and hate speech. Those are my thoughts when it comes to Bill C9. Okay, a little bit of football. I love this. Okay, so oh my god, recently all my football fans, we all saw this recently. I just looked at it right now. I forgot I was gonna talk about it. But just by looking at it, yeah, I'm getting pissed off, man. I ain't gonna lie. So you probably all saw the podcast or the whatever it was of these English players, these ex-English players, legends of the game, talking about Neymar Jr., right? And you guys know how much I fucking love Neymar Jr. I fucking love him because he's fucking phenomenal. Yes, Luca's probably going to be saying, yeah, but he didn't accomplish as much as he did. I understand that fact, and that is true. I do agree with Luca on that matter, but he still remains one of the greatest players of all time. So you probably all saw what the English players had to say regarding Neymar. Wayne Rooney. Yo, I fucking love Wayne Rooney. Like I said, phenomenal player. But I disagree to 1,000,000% for what he said regarding Neymar. He said, I've never seen Neymar as a top player. If you're a football fan, you know that that's fucking crazy talk. That is crazy fucking talk. Neymar is top 10 of all time. No debate. Let's stop fucking cut it. It's finished. He's top 10 of all time. There's no debate there. If you know football, the way he plays, well, he's top 10 of all time. I don't give a fuck. Rooney, Ian Wright, Gary Neville, Roy Keane, and Jill Scott have sparked outrage with their comments. So all of these 6 EPL forwards, which were amazing players. I mean, they're not all forwards, but all of these 6 EPL players, ex-players, who are all legends, right? All amazing players. Not one of those players is even close to Neymar. They're not even 50% as good as Neymar was. As good as Wayne Rooney was. Wayne Rooney is here. Neymar Jr. is here. It's 2 different continents, 2 different planets. It's not even the same fucking sport. The level of difference between Neymar and Rooney. Let's not forget, Rooney is an amazing player, but this is Neymar fucking Jr., man. Wow, man. And then there's another guy who said, I'm quoting him, Neymar is a YouTube player. He wasn't built for the Premier League. He was too protected. I didn't enjoy watching him. Now that's fucking cap. That's fucking cap. First of all, Neymar is a YouTube player. Yes, he is a YouTube player. But at the same time, to being a YouTube player, he's an amazing football player. A phenomenal football player. Yes, he's also a YouTube player, but he's also a fucking phenomenal football player. Both are the truth. Both are the truth. He wasn't built for the Premier League. He was too protected. I mean, Neymar Jr. got fouled many times, either in Serie on Ligue 1 or La Liga, or even the Champions League. He got fouled many times. If it's not a foul, well then get up, bro, and keep playing. It's not a foul. If it's a foul, I mean, those are the rules of the game. Don't blame Neymar for faking or for being weak physically because it's a foul. If you did a foul, it's a fucking foul. I don't care how strong he is physically. I don't care if that's fucking Cristiano Ronaldo with his fucking six-pack. If it's a foul, it's a foul. I don't care how fucking physically muscular or strong you are. If Neymar would have played in the Premier League in his prime, he would have been a fucking menace, just as much as he was in La Liga, in the Champions League, on the international stage, in League One. Wherever Neymar went, he was a fucking menace. Like Brazilian League, wherever he fucking went. Same goes for if he would have played in the Premier League. And then he said, I didn't enjoy watching him. Now stop the fucking cap. Everyone enjoyed watching Neymar. Everyone. If you didn't enjoy watching Neymar, well, then you just don't enjoy watching football. That's a fact. If you love football, if you enjoy watching football, if you enjoy football, you enjoy Neymar and you enjoy watching Neymar. You know how I say some things aren't as concrete as 2 + 2 = 4? This is literally as concrete as 2 + 2 = 4. That's a fucking fact. And then what else? Yeah, and then when he said, I've never seen Neymar as a top player. Let me just conclude this topic with the following. There's no English player to have ever existed or to currently exist, or you know what, fuck it, or to even ever exist who will be as good as Neymar Jr. No English player is as good as Neymar Jr. No English player. Not Wayne Rooney, not David Beckham, not Frank Lampard, not Steven Gerrard, not Harry Kane, not Jude Bellingham, not Cole Palmer, not Declan Rice, not Ashley fucking Cole, not whoever. There is no English player to have ever existed or who currently exists or who will ever exist that will be as good as Neymar was in his prime. No fucking player. Book it, clip it, wait for 20 years where there's going to be new talents and I'm still going to be correct. This clip is going to live on forever and ever and be worthy of gold because that's a fucking fact, man. That's how fucking beautiful of a player Neymar Jr. do Brasil was. Even if I might add, out of all European players to have ever existed, there's only one player who is better. And when I say better, the Neymar, I don't mean better on the pitch, but more accomplished. And then altogether, he is above Neymar Jr. on the GOAT list, is Cristiano Ronaldo. That's it. But even Cristiano Ronaldo, who is the greatest European player of all time, even Ronaldo isn't as good as a player, as a football player, as Neymar fucking Jr. He's not. He's more accomplished. He accomplished more. He won more. He had a better career. He had better longevity. But he's not a better player in his prime than Neymar Jr. So there's literally no European player who plays the sport of football better than Neymar Jr. Not Ronaldo, not Johan Cruyff, not Zinedine Zidane, not Andres Iniesta, not Eden Hazard, not Andriy Shevchenko, not Luka Modric, not Zlatan Ibrahimovic, not Francesco Totti, no Italian player, no German player, no Spanish player, no French player, no English player, no fucking Serbian player. No European player is as good. No European player to ever exist. No European player to exist currently. And no European player who will ever exist in the future will be as good as Neymar was with the ball on the pitch. No player. It goes for Africa, also Asia. Neymar, after, like I said, after Messi, Ronaldinho, Maradona, Ronaldo Fenomeno, Pele, Neymar is after them, right? He's better than Johan Cruyff. He's better than Van Basten. He's better than Zidane. Maybe Zidane accomplished more than Neymar and had a more fruitful career. But Zidane isn't a better player than Neymar. He's not. And that's a fucking fact. Come after me all you want. That's a fucking fact. Iniesta, phenomenal player. Probably as good as Zidane was. Still not like Neymar. Eden Hazard, phenomenal. Not like Neymar. Francesco Totti, no Italian player. No Gerd Muller, whatever. That's who fucking Neymar Jr. is, man. Next topic. Lionel Messi becomes the second highest free kick free kick goal scorer of all time with 71 free kick goals. He is now just 6 goals away from becoming the all-time leader. The top three free kick scorers in history are: first is Juninho, of course, the Brazilian phenomenal free kick taker with 77. Messi is second with 71, and Pele is third with 70. Do you understand how fucked up this is? Juninho was all about free kicks. Like, he was a free kick specialist. Like, he was the greatest free kick taker of all time after Messi. But that is almost all he had. Like, of course, he was a good dribbler, good passer. Of course, he was really good. But at the end of the day, he's known for his free kicks. Messi, though. Messi, though, bro. If you take away Messi's free kick abilities, he's still the greatest fucking player of all time. It's just fucking the cherry on top that he's also fucking good at taking free kicks. And if I might add, the greatest at taking free kicks. There's not how fucked up that is. So he's the great, like I said once, if Messi would have played center back, and I'm not abusing right now. I'm not doing hyperbole. I'm being serious. If Messi would have played center back, he would have been the greatest center back of all time. Book it, clip it, post it. If he would have played right back, he would have been the greatest right back of all time. Book it, post it, clip it, whatever. Left back, if Messi would have played left back, he would have been the greatest left back of all time. If Messi was a referee, a fucking referee, he would have been the greatest referee of all time. If Messi was a supporter on the stands, he would have been the greatest stand supporter to ever fucking exist. If Messi was a rapper, he would have been the greatest rapper of all time. If Messi was a conqueror, if Messi was in Napoleon Bonaparte's position, he would have conquered Russia. He would have conquered Russia. He wouldn't have lost to the Russians. He would have conquered Russia. If Messi, whatever Messi would have touched, would have turned into gold. If Messi was a podcaster, bye-bye Joe Rogan, Messi would have been number one. That's who fucking Messi is, man. That's Lionel fucking Andres Messi, bro. But of course, like I said, coming back to free kicks, after all of those bold claims I just made, he's the greatest free kick taker of all time. He is maybe the only person, maybe the only two persons who are better at taking free kicks than Messi, maybe Maradona and Ronaldinho, and that's it. And why I say those two is they didn't shoot as many free kicks as Messi did. So maybe if you look at free kick attempts and free kicks goals scored, maybe then Maradona and Ronaldinho are better, have a better percentage than Lionel Messi. But when it comes to purely the ability of taking free kicks, there's no one greater than Messi. No one. And don't want to take my word for it. The stats speak for themselves. Juninho, who is considered the free kick king, he finished his career with 77 free kick goals. Messi still has like 2-3 years in his career, and he's already at 71. So he's going to easily surpass that record, which is another record that Messi will have under his belt, which is fucking crazy. Like I said, man, that's who fucking Messi is, man. Combien de temps que je joue? Not 20, okay. Okay, let's finish off with, what do I have left? Let me just do I'll do everything that's left. Okay, so guys, recently, Pierre Poilievre went on the Joe Rogan podcast. Joe Rogan being the biggest podcaster in the world, he fucking brings whoever he wants. He brings Elon Musk. He brought him like 4 times, brings Jordan Peterson, Donald Trump even. He literally brings whoever he wants, which is normal. He's the biggest fucking podcaster. And then Pierre Poilievre being Canadian news outlets having their opinion when it comes to Pierre Poilievre going on Joe Rogan's podcast. I heard many fucking people saying crazy stuff. I didn't know until recently, reading all these opinions that people have regarding Joe Rogan. Many people in Canada think that Joe Rogan is like this far-right individual, this far-right speaker, podcaster. There's how fucking crazy that is. Joe Rogan being far-right? What if you consider Joe Rogan far-right, what the fuck do you consider Andrew Tate? Like a fucking neo-Nazi? Like even worse than Hitler? What the actual fuck? Joe Rogan is far from being a far right. He's even a liberal. Maybe not in today because the liberals have gone too far left. So maybe that's why he brought like Donald Trump and he speaks a bit more conservatively and a bit more what is considered in 2026 to be more like right wing. But Joe Rogan has always been a liberal. like myself, I've always been a liberal. It's just now, of course, in 2026, it's a bit different. Like, fuck, all my life, I've always been for the Liberal Party. But now in 2026, I'm like, yo, let me go vote conservative because I'm not gay. But it's different. But for people in Canada to believe that Joe Rogan is a far-right podcaster, a far-right influencer, a far-right speaker, I was mind blown. I'm like, he's far-right? If he's considered far-right, then what's Donald Trump? A fucking extremist, Hitler, neo-Nazi? What's Andrew Tate? What's Ben Shapiro? All these other guys, Jordan Peterson. I mean, what are they? Fucking neo-Nazis? Jesus fucking Christ, man. Yo, guys, listen. If you think that Joe Rogan is far-right, then I mean, you just have crazy knowledge, zero knowledge on what is far-right and what is not far-right if you consider Joe Rogan to be a far-right. That's fucking crazy. But at the same time, it was just sad to see that so many Canadians believe that the way Joe Rogan speaks, which is actually really, really non-confrontational, like he stands on business, he asks good questions, and he firmly believes what he believes in, and he's going to defend his position. But he doesn't speak like Andrew Tate or like Ben Shapiro or like Nick Fuentes. I can understand people calling Nick Fuentes a far right. I can understand that. And I mean, it makes sense calling Nick Fuentes a far right. But to call Joe Rogan a far right podcaster, speaker, that's fucking crazy. And that makes no fucking sense. Bill Maher, for people who know the guy who does prime time, real time with Bill Maher, all his life, he's been a Democrat, which is a liberal. All his life, he's been known. He was registered as a Democrat, as a liberal. Currently, right now, he says that he doesn't consider himself anymore a liberal, a Democrat, because they've just gone way too far left. And even he isn't close to being a far right. He also talks way more badly about these far left extremists than Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is really not confrontational towards these far left wokeists. He's really like more on the chill side. He just talks about it, says his opinion, and smokes a bunch of weed, orders pizza, and drinks alcohol. That's who Joe Rogan is. Like, he talks about everything. When he talks about aliens, he brings in Alex Jones to fucking laugh around with. Like, he's really not a strongly opinionated political person, Joe Rogan. Like, I don't know if people understand that or if people really watch him. Bill Maher, on the other hand, also he is like not even 1% of being a far right. And he speaks way more negatively about these liberals and these far left wokeists now in 2026. And even he, all his life, was a Democrat. He was a known registered liberal Democrat, Bill Maher. For people who know him, you know what I'm talking about. All his life he was. Even now in 2026, he's way more confrontational. He calls these far left wokeists dumb, stupid, and I'm quoting him. He says they're out of touch with reality and they don't know what's actually going on. He's way more confrontational. And even to call him a far right extremist would be not even 1% true, would be crazy to call him a far right individual, speaker, podcast, or whatever. But to go as far as say Joe Rogan is a far right extremist, that was just, it just blew my mind how many people consider him to be a fucking far right extremist. I couldn't believe it. It was just fucking crazy. I feel like some people in Canada have a like weird, it's not weird, have the exaggerated concept of what it means to be slightly in the middle, but slightly leaning right. For them, that's like far right. He's in the middle and he's slightly leaning right. That's far away from being far right, man. Next topic. So what happened recently in Iran, which is still under Islamic rule, they killed a professional athlete, a wrestler, who was protesting Iran's current Islamic regime. They killed him. Do you understand how fucked up that is? That's why I love the West. In the West, you have the right to express yourself politically and to say, you know what? This government, I fucking hate it. They're in the wrong. I don't want them to be in power anymore. You can literally say, fuck Mark Carney. He's dumb. He doesn't know what he's doing. Whatever. I don't want him to be in power anymore. You can say, fuck Donald Trump. He's dumb. He doesn't know what he's doing. And nothing's going to happen to you. Why? Because in the West, we live in a humane and free society. But in Iran, that's not the fucking case. Imagine being a 22-year-old and you want the best for your country. You're all full of energy. You want change in your country because if we're being honest, your country fucking needs change. Iran fucking needs change. just you protesting something that every citizen in North America and in the Western world has the right to do, protest peacefully without facing harm or violence. We all have that right, and the police are actually protecting us. We all have that right. In certain countries, you don't even have that simple, basic right, that democratic right to protest something that you don't agree with. This just shows you how crazy it is in Iran and what the Islamic regime in Iran actually stands for. Oppression, no democracy, no freedom of speech, no liberty for individuals to be who they are, to express themselves, and to live freely. So, of course, how can you be a human? How can you be humane and not want change in Iran for the Iranians? How can you want them to continue living the way they're living under Islamic regime? Doesn't make sense. They killed how old was he? Today in Iran, in the middle of war, the regime executed a 19-year-old national wrestling champion for the crime of joining January protests. Protesting is a crime. The only way that protesting should be a crime is once it becomes violent and once it becomes harmful to other citizens physically. Then, of course, it should be illegal. Protesting doesn't mean burning buildings. It doesn't mean burning cars, flipping cars, hurting people, punching people, killing people. That's not what protesting is. Protesting is peaceful and is done in a peaceful manner. That's what protesting is. And everyone should have the right. Even if I don't agree with you, just like I didn't agree with Palestinian protesters, I'm still really fucking happy and glad that they have the right to protest and not suffer consequences by the government or police or whatever. After signaling to the world, including President @real Donald J. Trump, that they would halt executions of protesters, the regime has done the exact opposite. Imagine living in a country where you protest peacefully and the consequence of you protesting peacefully is getting executed. Do you understand how backwards that country is? It's a really backwards country. Really fucking backwards country. I don't care if you're from Iran. I don't care if you're Muslim or whatever. Just being a normal human being, just being humane and being a human being, you can admit and you can agree that this is not humane and this is inhumane and it's not normal. And it actually shouldn't be happening. Even in the midst of war, the Islamic Republic does not abandon its long-standing practice of using the death penalty to instill fear among the population. Today, 3 young men who were detained during the January protests were executed. Anyone presenting themselves as part of the opposition today, whether a Republican or monarchist, must have a clear international advocacy plan focused on securing the release of political prisoners, especially those on death row. Otherwise, in the eyes of many Iranians, they will be seen as self-serving opportunists exploiting the war to seize power, not as people who genuinely want freedom for Iran. Crazy talk, and crazy fucking talk. Next topic. So this is a big trend that I saw on social media a lot, and I had to talk about it because I don't agree. Someone wrote, if women stopped working, men would have more jobs. Women would need husbands. Wives would stay home and have babies. Families would multiply. America would heal. You know, I always said that men and women are equal, but we are different. But this is too much. This is sexism because, like it or not, women, they have ambition. They want to work and they want to accomplish great things. And they should have the right and the freedom to have the right to do a work that they want to do and pursue a dream that they want to pursue. They remain human fucking beings. And they also have dreams just as much as any other man has. So they should have the right, and not only, even if they don't have dreams, they should still have the right and the freedom to do whatever they want to do. If they want to work in 9 to 5 at McDonald's and not have kids and just live life as a McDonald's worker, she should have the right to decide to have that choice of life. But at the same time, women who want to be stay-at-home moms and who want to be stay-at-home wives, they should also have that right to decide that they want to be a stay-at-home wife and a stay-at-home mom. What is the most important for me is that all human beings, regardless of race, religion, gender, sex, fucking whatever else it may be, regardless of their identity, they should all have the same rights to do freely what they want to do and to express themselves how they want to express themselves through words or through actions. No matter who you are, we should all have the same rights, written black on white on paper. Should all have the same rights. So that's why I disagree with this. I understand what the logic he's going with, but still, you cannot take a right away from women, because that means that in a way you consider women to be inferior to men, because you're saying that they shouldn't have the same rights as men. Saying that women shouldn't have the same rights as men is sexist. That is sexist. And you know me, I'm not a guy who's like this, like, oh, yo, that's sexist when you say a joke. Well, like jokes, who gives a fuck? It's a joke, no one cares. But when it comes to actual laws, putting black on white on paper, I'm not for it. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, this isn't the 1930s. We're in 2026, and women and men should have the same rights, regardless of gender, political affiliations, religious affiliations, race, skin color, ethnicity, whatever. We should all have the same rights if you're a citizen in a Western country. And the reason why the West is so beautiful and prosperous is because every single individual, every single citizen has the right to do what they want to do and to choose what they want to pursue freely without any harm or whatever. And that's where we get people who become the best versions of themselves, who accomplish and who innovate society a lot. And by individuals becoming the best versions of themselves, accomplishing their dreams, innovating themselves and innovating society, we all benefit from it, right? Like all the findings that Nikola Tesla has done, we all benefit from it. Electricity. Right now, if it wasn't for Nikola Tesla, I wouldn't have a podcast, because we wouldn't have a camera with electricity and wouldn't be filming me right now or recording my voice. So, of course, Nikola Tesla, he had the right to pursue what he wanted to pursue as long as it's not illegal and as long as it doesn't harm other people. But what that did was his innovations made the world a better place for all human beings. And this goes for everything else. When an artist, when a musician makes good music because he wants to make the best music as he can, because he wants to become the best version of himself, he wants to succeed as much as he can, reach his highest goals, in consequence, we all benefit from it. We all benefit from good music, right? We all love listening to good music, to good songs. We all benefit from it. So when you allow people of all gender, all races, all ethnicities to be able to have the rights to become the best versions of themselves, to accomplish all of their wildest dreams, at the end of the day, we all benefit from it. Messi wanted to become the greatest player on planet Earth. So did Ronaldo. We benefit from it. We get to watch them play. It brings us joy. It brings us happiness. And it's just fucking nice to watch. So we all benefit from allowing people, like I said, all people, to become the best version of themselves and to acquire and to reach all of their goals. Talking about sports, thank God Trump banned the man from being able to compete in women's sports. I never really talked that much about transgenders, it's just because it never really piqued my curiosity that much. Like, in my opinion, all human beings should have the right to do whatever they want. So if a guy wants to become quote unquote a woman, which in my mind is impossible, because if you're born a man, you're always going to be a man. But if a guy wants to mutate his genital parts, if he wants to start injecting estrogen so he has more feminine features, if he wants to dress like a woman, hey, he has the right. It's his life. He has the freedom to do whatever he wants as long as he's not harming other people. And he has the right to do whatever he wants with his body, right? I mean, I would never fucking do it. I don't understand how someone can want that. Like, I'm not saying this with hate. I'm just, by curiosity, I don't understand how someone can want that, how someone can have like that influence and that motivation. But hey, if he has that motivation to do it, it's his life. I still wish him all the best. God bless him. I wish him all the best. May he have health and prosperity. But he has the right to do whatever he wants with his body and with his life. He has that right. But if you're born a man and you become a woman, yes, you become a lady boy, whatever, good for you, you still shouldn't have the right to compete in women's sports. Why? Because when it comes to sports, physicality plays a big part. This is not me being a sexist. This is just purely biological facts. In general, men run faster, men are stronger, men have better coordination, men have better hand-eye coordination. In general, of course, there are some specific women who have better physical attributes than specific males. That is also a fact. But in general, men run faster, are stronger, jump higher, run longer, are just physically more dominant biologically than women. That is a scientific biological fact. That is a fact. It's literally like saying 2 + 2 = 4. It's literally what it is. And that's why man shouldn't have the right to compete in women's sports, because it's just fucking not fair. But believe me, like, if Usain Bolt was to run with women, yo, broski, I'm betting the house on it. I'll be really fucking rich, because whatever sport there was, if men were allowed to compete in women's sports, whenever there would be a race, they would take, imagine if we mixed man and women's sports, right? It would always just be man. Let's say we mix, like I said, we mix the Olympics, men and women are together, right? Let's say in this crazy world, right? Let's say we mix both of them. And then, of course, when it comes to the gold for the 100 meters, there can only be 10 individuals. Well, there's going to be all 10 men, of course, because the 10 fastest men are a million times faster than the 10 fastest women in the world. So it's not going to be like 8 guys, 2 women, 6 guys, 4 women. No, it's literally going to be 10 men, no woman. So like literally all sports, if we mix men and women, it's still always going to be all men, because all men are going to be better than all women. It's just how it is. If we mix soccer, let's say, right? So we mix soccer, men and women can play together for both teams. And there's a game, Team A and Team B. Well, on the pitch, it's going to be 11 guys for Team A, and for Team B, it's going to be 11 guys, and on the bench, it's going to be 7 guys for Team A, and on the bench, it's going to be 7 guys for Team B. Because at the end of the day, of course, okay, all genders can play together. So now we're going to take who's the most competent and who are the best in that sport. Well, it's going to be all fucking men. So, of course, it's logical, and it's even good for women that men have their sports, their section, and women have their sports section. It's just good for both parties. It's good for everyone, right? Like, Jesus fucking Christ. But to get back to transgenders, yes, thank you, Donald J. Trump, for clarifying something that shouldn't be controversial and that should be like the norm in the human society. But I guess for some people that isn't normal and that isn't the norm. But yes, men who are transgender women, transgender men, a man who goes to women should have the right to do whatever he wants with his body, but he shouldn't have the right to play in women's sports and compete in women's sports. Let me end it with this next topic. So from my personal experience, I've been creating content, being a podcaster for like 3 years now. And from my personal experience, the best way to create content and the best way to go on with it is to post and ghost. So you post and then you don't give a fuck what people comment, how many likes you get, how many views you get. You just don't give a fuck. You just focus on your art and on your craft to make the best content as possible. And you just keep posting and then ghosting. That is from my personal experience. Of course, I'm not this big podcaster, but from my personal experience, I can confidently say that I have more experience than people who don't really create content. So of course, I'm going to have more experience than them. The best ways to go on with it is to post and ghost. That's the best way. And also, if I might add, Joe Rogan, I watched one of his podcasts, the GOAT podcaster, right? One of the GOAT content creators of all time. And he also literally said word for word, the best way to go on with it is to post and ghost. And that's a guy who's been doing podcasts for like 16 years. He was doing television, being a television host for like 10 years. All his life, he was in a way creating content either for television, stand-up comedian, or now as a podcaster. And he said, after all these years of experience, all these years of success, he said that the best way to go on with content creation is to post and ghost. If that can maybe help some people who want to get into content creation, podcast, vlogging, whatever. My humble opinion and Joe Rogan's humble opinion is to post and then ghost. So that was it for this episode, guys. Peace out.